So, guys, after months of OTAs, minicamp, and offseason workouts, Jon Harbaugh finally has a much better idea of what this roster looks like. But one of the biggest questions on offense is still completely unanswered, and that's who will emerge as the team's WR2 behind Malik Nabers. Several receivers have flashed throughout the offseason, but no one has done enough to lock down the job. Now, with training camp about to begin, the competition is entering its most important phase, and Jon Harbaugh has one massive decision to make before this offense starts taking shape. So, let me break down why this WR2 battle is so important, who's currently leading the race, and which receiver has the best chance to earn one of the biggest roles in the Giants' offense this season. What's up, Big Blue? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Giants. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So guys, last year this exact position almost blew up in the Giants' face. I remember watching them get to cut down day, watching the waiver claims come through and just thinking, one injury at receiver 2 and this offense has a real problem, and that's exactly what happened. They ended up begging Isaiah Hodgins to come back just to have a warm body at that spot in the second half of the season. So this year, I get why they wanted to avoid that mess completely, and honestly, they did their homework in free agency and the draft. Now you've got a group that's actually deep for once. Darius Slayton is still around, and yeah, he's coming off a rough year, but this is a guy who's bounced back from rough years before, so I'm not writing him off just yet. Then you've got Darnell Mooney, who's basically the same type of player, someone who's already proven he can put up 900, even 1,000 yards in a season when given the chance. And then you throw Malachi Fields into the mix, the third-round pick who plays that above the rim, jump ball type of style that honestly fits what Jaxson Dart likes to do when he's throwing the ball up for grabs. On top of all that, you've still got Juju Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Hodgins, and yes, Odell Beckham Jr. back in the building too, so this isn't a thin group anymore, this is a real competition. Right now, it really looks like a two-man race between Darius Slayton and Darnell Mooney for that top spot, with early buzz suggesting Mooney might have a slight edge in how the offense is being designed. Malachi Fields is the wildcard rookie who could crash the party later in camp, but as of today, it's Slayton and Mooney at the front. And here's the thing, guys, that's exactly why this battle is so much fun to watch. Nobody's entitled to the job. Nobody walked into camp with it locked up. Every single one of these guys has to go out there for the next 6 weeks and actually earn it on the field. Now, before I go deeper into the receiver room, I do want to touch on something connected to all of this, and that's Jaxson Dart himself. Because whoever wins that WR2 job is going to be catching passes from a quarterback who's basically learning a brand new offense from scratch. This isn't the same system he ran as a rookie. There's more under center work now, more play action stuff he's honestly never really had to do consistently before. And if I'm being real with you, that was the roughest part of his rookie tape, the under center play action stuff. He just wasn't good at it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's the end of the world. A lot of that had to do with the fact that they weren't running the ball much under center to begin with, so defenses could just sniff out the play action from a mile away. But still, it means whoever ends up as that second receiver is stepping into an offense that's still figuring itself out, which honestly makes winning that job even more valuable. If you're the guy Jaxson Dart trusts while he's adjusting to all this new stuff, you're going to see a ton of targets. And that leads right into Malik Nabers, because his health status is a huge piece of this whole puzzle. Right now, nobody really knows for sure when he's going to be back on the field to start the season. But even with all that uncertainty, I still expect him to put up close to 1,000 yards this year, even if he misses time early. That's just what elite number 1 receivers do. They bail out a quarterback on a bad throw, they win jump balls, they turn a confusing coverage look into an easy completion. And the more Jaxson Dart leans on him, the more it opens up chances for whoever wins that WR2 role to work in single coverage. Now let's shift over to the other side of the ball for a second, because there's another position wide open going this camp, and that is cornerback. You've got Greg Newsome, who's really only had one strong season out of his whole career so far. You've got Deonte Banks, who I honestly don't even count as a real factor in that room right now, even though he'll get his shot. And then you've got the rookie, Colton Hood, who I'm just not ready to project instant success onto. If he comes in and balls out, great, but rookies at corner rarely hit the ground running like that. The scary part is what happens if this doesn't work out. You could end up with 2 below-average corners on the field at the same time, and in this league, offenses will pick you apart if that happens. That's why so much hope is riding on Colton Hood settling in at one corner spot, because what he brought from his time in New Orleans wasn't a shutdown corner. It was a guy who takes chances, gets his hands on the ball, and creates turnovers. If Leonard Wilson's scheme lets him do that here, it could really help mask some of the other question marks in that secondary. Speaking of that secondary, keep an eye on Jevon Holland too. He's clearly the most talented player back there, but the honest critique of him has always been that he plays the job well without ever really having that extra gear, that mental edge that turns good players into ball hawks. If he finds that this year, the whole back end gets a lot scarier. Now let's talk about the trenches for a second, because there's a quiet battle happening at backup guard that people aren't paying enough attention to. Forget backup guard, this is actually a starting job battle. Daniel Faalele, a guy Jon Harbaugh brought over from his Baltimore days, is pushing hard for that starting left guard spot, a bigger body who can get his hands on defenders and create some real power in the run game, but who also comes with those ugly whiff plays mixed in. It's a real question of what this coaching staff values more. And that ties directly into a bigger conversation, whether Jon Runyan Jr. even fits the direction this offensive line wants to go. If they're moving away from the finesse, technician-style blockers and toward more powerful, physical guys up front, then Runyan's fit becomes a real question mark. I do think Faalele has a real shot at winning that job outright once the pads come on, but if he doesn't, watching how close he pushes Runyan is still one of the more telling battles of camp. Alright, let's move to the defensive line, because if there's one group that genuinely worries me heading into camp, it's this one. DJ Reader steps in as the new nose tackle, and from everything I've seen, he's a legit run stuffer, someone who can hold that spot down the way Dexter Lawrence used to, but after him, things get murky fast. Shelby Harris is expected to take that other starting spot, and he's a solid, serviceable player, but here's the scary math: even if both of these guys stay healthy for all 17 games like they did last year, that still leaves over half of the defensive tackle snaps up for grabs. So who fills that? Is it a late-round rookie nobody's really talking about? Is it Darius Alexander, who really struggled through his rookie year? Or is it one of the other depth names buried on the roster that casual fans haven't even heard of yet? This group has been near the bottom of the league in run defense for years now, and if this room doesn't figure itself out fast, that trend continues right into this season. Honestly, Darius Alexander might be the single most important player to watch through camp and preseason. Not because expectations should be sky high for a second-year guy, but because the difference between him taking a real jump and him staying stuck is the difference between this defensive tackle room being a real weakness or just an average one. His run defense has to improve, plain and simple. Flashing as a pass rusher isn't enough on its own with this much thin depth behind him. Now let's swing over to the linebacker room, because there's actually reason for some optimism here, even with a rough defensive line group next to it. Tremaine Edmunds comes in as an upgrade at the position, even if he's not some magic fix-all type of player. He's coming off a season anchoring a bottom 8 run defense, so he's got real slack to pick up here. Alongside him is a rookie who people are still debating the best position for, and honestly, that evaluation should happen on an individual basis, not with the pressure of fixing the whole run defense on his shoulders. And having Micah McFadden as quality depth behind those two is honestly a smart move. The kind of depth signing that pays off the moment your starter goes down or slumps. At outside linebacker, this might be the deepest, most talented group on the entire roster. Brian Burns is a stud, that part isn't up for debate. But the real intrigue is watching Abdul Carter continue to ascend into what could be a top 5 player on this whole team. He started slow last year but finished as one of the best edge rushers in the league in total pressures, and he's still only entering year 2 at the position. Then you've got Kayvon Thibodeaux, a guy who's arguably the best of the group at setting the edge against the run, playing in a contract year, which usually means he's got extra motivation to show up big. Last thing before we wrap this up, the backfield. Cam Skattebo looks like your clear starting running back, but this isn't going to be a one-man show. Tyrone Tracy brings that explosive element Skattebo doesn't really have, and Devin Singletary rounds things out as a real complementary piece too. With Patrick Ricard and Greg Roman both in the building now, this coaching staff clearly wants to manufacture more explosive runs than this offense has had in years past. So look when you zoom out and put all of this together. The WR2 battle behind Malik Nabers might be the single biggest storyline of camp. But it's really just one piece of a much bigger puzzle Jon Harbaugh has to solve before the season starts. Between the receiver room, the secondary, the defensive tackle spot, and getting Jaxson Dart comfortable in this new offense, there's a lot riding on these next 6 weeks. I'll be tracking every single one of these battles as camp rolls on, so make sure you're subscribed because we're not slowing down from here.